And we're live. Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to the T.O.P National Book Club. How y'all doing, ladies and gentlemen? Pastor Sean, Pastor Tammy, Mr. Clavon Damu, how y'all doing tonight? So, if you're watching us live, go ahead and let us know where you all are chiming in from. Let us know who's here, comment, and make sure that you share this broadcast. Let us know who's here. And we're going to go ahead and get started with our introduction. So, with that being said, Mr. Damu, won't you go ahead and let the world know who you are, sir?
Oh man, just a humble servant from the projects, focusing on personal growth and development, trying to get, just trying to be a better version of myself. But they call me Dr. Damu because I'm a unofficial optometrist, helping people with vision, helping people see. Blessed to be a diamond consultant here at Tava Nation, but that just means that I've attracted leaders better than myself, and collectively we have hit this rank, and I happen to be at the forefront in a leadership position, and I'm honored to do so every single day. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for that great introduction. The humble servant from the project that was just here to help everyone just see with a better vision. With that being said, I'm going to go to Harlem, New York by way of New Jersey. Pastor Sean, let the people know who you are.
Hey, hey, hey. Thank you so much, Sharita. And it's great to be here amongst greatness. My name is Reverend Dr. Shanti Atkins, Senior Pastor of Antioch Baptist Church in the village of Harlem, the church with the big heart, the pastor with the big heart. And I am an executive director here at Tava.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Thank you, Pastor.
I think you're on mute, Sharita.
And I certainly was. Thank you for that. We're going to go all the way to Houston where they do things bigger. And Pastor Tim, let the world know who you are.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I am Tammy Durden. So super excited to be here. I am executive pastor of New Faith Praise and Worship Center Church in Houston, Texas. I am also known as the image maker. I help women look and feel absolutely amazing. We transform your image into something amazing from the inside out. I am your health and wellness advocate and a director too right here at Tava Nation.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for that dynamic introduction. And ladies and gentlemen, I am Sharita Leon, hailing out of the greatest city in the world, New York City. I am a two-time #1 best-selling author, international speaker, the protege of the legendary Les Brown, a coach, investor, mother, and I help individuals live out their God-given purpose while creating wealth. And I am an executive director here at Tava. So we are here at the Top National Book Club, and the book that we are reading, and it's our last day talking about it, is How to Win Friends and Influence People. And so I'm going to start off with this. It is our last session of this book in this episode. And so, Mr. Browning, why don't you let everyone know what your thoughts were on completing this book from where it started to the end? What do you find is the most pivotal in winning friends and influencing people?
Well, I think that's a great question. And maybe because we're at the end, I'll reference something toward the end of the book in this last reading that I thought was so powerful. And, the whole thing is how to win friends, but also how to influence people. So my thing is, if you ever go from being an employee to a supervisor or to a manager or to a COO or whatever the case may be, or you rise in the ranks of our industry, you now find yourself leading people that you were once kind of like equally on par with. And one of the greatest principles at the end of this book deals with like the responsibility of criticism. And so normally we don't kind of criticize, right? We don't judge other people. But in a leadership position, you do have to criticize, you do have to correct, you have to offer advice. And I think some of the approaches to that is really shifting. How to criticize people without hurting their feelings, how to administer discipline without hurting morale. And I think some of the principles about, critiquing yourself first and humbling yourself and aligning with the person before you share something with them to help take them to another level. I think some of the other techniques, like if you are forced to criticize someone or give them advice on better behavior, how about promoting the things they do great first? How about lifting them up in so many ways and then coming back and saying, but by the way, here's some things, some humble suggestions I think that shift. And I just think those techniques were really golden because it's all about human relationships.
Absolutely, I agree. And so my daughter is one to love praise. And so I can clearly see how in this you can really help someone become better by creating a picture. And that's what I found with one of the stories, especially the story when, the gentleman was referring to the student who was, known for being the bad kid. He's always disruptive. And the teacher created a new story. Pastor Tammy, how do you think creating a new story really helps someone live into that new possibility?
I think that, it's super important to be able to help guide and steer people in that direction as far as creating a new story. We have so many old stories, bad stories that we're replaying over and over in our minds. And so to be able to have the ability to move or shift a person in that direction, number one, is powerful. And number two, it can be life changing. Absolutely. You never know where people are in life. You never know what they're going through. So to be able to cause that shift to take place as a leader is absolutely incredible.
I totally concur to that. So one of the last principles in this book is being able to indirectly point out someone's mistake. Pastor Sean, I know you as a pastor and leading people and being around other leaders as well. How are you able to point out someone's mistake indirectly, yet find a way for them to identify with it and become better?
One of the greatest ways of doing it is finding something good that they do. And so often when we criticize people, we immediately go on the attack of what they're doing wrong. And so I believe that there's always something good in everyone. People get annoyed with me. They're like, God, you always got to find something good about a situation. That's right, because it works for me. And so if we're really going to make an impact and help people to hear, because at the end of the day, we want to help the situation, and you don't make it better by criticizing. You make it better by finding something good. I call it sandwiching, saying something good and then putting in the criticism and then ending it with something positive.
Oh, I like that, sandwiching. Okay, you might need to trademark that whole concept. I like that.
Not the first time I heard it. Not the first time I heard that.
Of course, and as you would not apply the principles we just read in the book, but okay.
Exactly.
So
you're trying to set up for trademark infringement. I'm just saying.
That is not what it was at all, actually. But with that being said, let's go to this question, Mr. Browning. Being that, creating new habits and leading people, is not an easy task, I'm sure you know. So how is it that you're able to apply what's read as opposed to just reading it?
Well, application is just exactly that. I mean, in all the books that we've embarked on, I think you'll be really good if you read them. I mean, I think you'll be great if you apply the techniques, and I mean, here, there lies the threshold of life, the military, you say, well, knowing is half the battle. We used to hear that saying, Sharita, in all seriousness, I just think it takes a champion to apply the things that they've learned, either through reading or through experiences and through, the pain of failures. Application and putting what is it, Pastor Sean? Faith without work is dead. The knowledge without the work is dead. I mean, come on. So, I mean, for me, you can't claim to be a leader. You can't claim to want to build something and not have the courage to take action, not have the heart to get out there and put forth the sweat equity. So all these principles in this book, I pride myself on one thing, is God giving me the strength to do the work so I can become a better person. We're not here just trying to be these fancy intellectuals talking about the principles in these books. No, we are striving for self-mastery. I've been addicted to personal growth and development for over 2 decades. So I don't find it difficult applying the principles because it's making me a better person. And I think it's inspiring the people that I'm assigned to and those assigned to me. Um, One thing I can say about these principles when we're still talking about criticism, I thought it was also very enlightening, the concept of kind of like praise in public and try to criticize in private. You know, like these are some of the things that make the application easier, is just compassion, empathy, and consideration. And I'll end with this. We grow up with certain characters. So you have a certain character coming to the table as a leader. You have a certain character coming to the table as a disciplinary. And sometimes it can be offensive. Sometimes it can be too much. It can be too harsh. So are you willing to shift your character to accommodate others? And that is an amazing task. And I think that's everybody's journey.
That was really good. And you made mention of praising people in public and taking them behind to correct. Now, I'm sure both Pastor Tammy and Pastor Sean know a lot of this because we are known for doing this in the church. Well, at least some folks, because some folks just, But in any case, Pastor Tammy, how do you find being able to praise someone in public without over dramatizing, who they are, what they've accomplished, to the point where they can actually receive the correction behind the scenes? How do you find that that's beneficial? And have you ever experienced that, in ministry?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that it requires you to come from a place of truth, not making up things about people, but really speaking truths about them and complimenting them on the things that they've actually done right and accomplished in a public space, being authentic about that and speaking truthfully. Because people know that they know if you're making up something. So when you get in private, so if you make up something in public, when you get them in private, they're still going to be resistant because they know that you're not being authentic. So when you come from a place of truth and praise them publicly, and then when you pull them aside privately and let them know some things about some shortcomings or things that may not have gone right, they're more open to receive it. And definitely with praise and worship in ministry, and people kind of get excited and want to sometimes per se steal the show. There is the Spirit of God is not moving. You want to sing 5 songs, but that 5 songs wasn't in that 4th and 5th song was not in the lineup. And so although you may have ushered the Spirit in, but by the time you hit that 4th and 5th song, it's dead because the Lord didn't say go to that 4th and 5th song. So when you pull them aside, and you've been a blessing to the ministry. I respect your anointing. We don't have a certain cut off protocol. We let the Spirit reign. But so I've had that instance where we've had to have the talk, and it's worked well because I definitely praise them publicly. Oh God, God bless, minister of music, just ushered the Holy Spirit in. We thank God for her. And then when we get private, we have some other conversations, and so it's accepted well.
Absolutely. And Pastor Sean, do you have anything to add to that?
It's so funny because that's my husband and I motto. We praise in public, protest in private. And it works well because it's not about embarrassing people, humiliating people. And so what we do, we're able to communicate with each other in a loving way. But even when in private, I make it a conscious decision, once it's over, it's over. So you just address the situation, not in an angry way, but make it clear. Listen, honey, X, Y, and Z happened. And, this is how we need to work on that, especially publicly. But even with people in the body of Christ, people like praise. And I feel like when you praise people and find the good in them, they're more likely to accept when you have something of correction.
Yeah, right. That's good.
Mm.
And you think about we're made of the image and likeness of God. And so we are mandated to praise God. God inhabits in our praises. So, like God, so are man. When people want to hear how good they are and what they've been doing. And so, Mr. Browning, I have a question for you. So, you know, part of the last part of this book talks about being able to talk about your mistakes first. Why do you feel that's important in leadership and or influencing people?
Oh, that's a great question. It's because when you are dealing with leadership, and I've learned this the hard way. Um, People don't admire perfection. They don't. It's not about, and that's such an error that leaders fall into, that you have to be perfect and you have to have just this stellar character, everything, to get the respect and the from the people that you're leading. But it's actually the opposite. People want to know that you have vulnerabilities. People want to know that you've walked similar journeys to that which they may be walking right now. Because everything about leadership, it comes down to falling into alignment with the person. It comes down to being able to relate to a person. So if you can tell a person, hey, I've been in those shoes. And then you tell a story about your mistakes and your failures and your shortcomings. That person now sits back and says, wow, my leader's not standing up on some mountain preaching down to us. My leader's committed to personal growth and development. They made the same errors that I've made, and they're focused on getting better every day. I think if you see your leadership focusing on growth and development, it'll inspire you. It'll inspire you to know you're not being judged, you're being inspired. And so that's what the key is: having the humility and the transparency to talk about your faults and your shortcomings as you're getting ready to administer discipline to another person. People actually admire it, and it takes a lot of courage to do that, because you got to have serious self-esteem. You got to know that you know who you are as a leader, so the vulnerabilities, they don't affect you. It's just kind of like, it's power in keeping it real. And so that's what that's all about. People love it.
That's good. There's power in keeping it real. I totally agree with that. So, Pastor Tammy, part of the book talks about how to get people excited to do what you want them to do. How can you relate that to your business? How do you get people excited about making them want to, join a challenge or maybe even, purchase some jewelry from you? How do you make them want to say yes?
Well, I mean, all roads lead back to praise. Simply complimenting people. People love compliments, especially women, especially ladies, love compliments. Oh, you're beautiful. And it's funny, we do it all the time amongst each other. Complimenting them. Oh, that's a beautiful top you're wearing. Oh, I love that hat. Oh, and so by that time they're smiling. Oh, yeah, yeah. By that time they're smiling. They're feeling good about themselves. And just speaking a kind word and words of, and remember, the foundation is always being authentic. The foundation is always that you're not just saying something to be saying something. But I found that a lot of times you have to make people feel good and feel good about themselves. And once people feel good and feel good about themselves, they're more open to saying yes. They're more open to participating. They're more open to buying in to whatever it is that you're offering them, just by simply being complimentary when you speak with them.
That's good. That's good. Pastor Sean, there's a story in the book, and it talks about how um, one of the individuals was in the car business, and the person had the wrong information, and so the client was irate. And so here they are. He's ready to leave and go somewhere else. And one of the higher up managers heard the discussion between the rep and the actual business person, I mean, the client. And so he comes and he says, you know what, let's actually look through your paperwork. Let's see what's going on. And he takes the blame for everything. And so now he ends up saying, well, you know what, I know that you're always on time with your payments. This has to be a mistake. Can you look through the paperwork and tell me if you see anything wrong? Oh, and Pastor Sean is gone. Well, Mr. Browning, I'll give it to you. So he sees that, he says, hey, look at the paperwork. Tell me what you think. And he goes on to find the error and literally, pays for it. And in the book, he talks about letting someone else take the way, see for themselves, be wrong, and literally move forward in that route. Got them 2 more sales later on. How do you feel, Mr. Browning, that impacted you? What made it? What was the shift that took place to make him say, you know what, I was actually wrong? To look at his own documents.
Well, I think one of the key aspects of leadership is when I get from this, I get a concept like this creative resolution, conflict resolution. Using humility, and I'll tell you the key word, but it's all about conflict resolution. Only the greatest leaders in industry and business, car salesman, network marketing, only the greatest leaders in the world understand conflict resolution is the key. Can you resolve this situation and ultimately wind up with a win-win? And the way, don't worry, Dr. Atkins, your brother got your back. You know what I mean? This is how we do. I got you. I got you. So we're talking about a creative resolution of conflicts based on responsibility. So what I get from this is you're talking about a leader that whether he was right instinctively or felt like the other person, was right and he was wrong, his instinct was responsibility. And when you take responsibility, what I get from this, maybe you guys got the same thing, as soon as you take responsibility, humility comes over everybody. Humility comes over you, then humility comes over the other party. And now you got the patience because you're not being led by ego. So with responsibility, you have conflict resolution because now you can go do the due diligence calmly and you're not scared of being wrong because you're not being led by your ego. You want to be right. And right is win-win. Right is making that customer happy. Right is keeping that business in-house. And so that's kind of what I got from it. It's a term called, all these like synergistic resolution where 2 people come together. It's not about right or wrong. It's about let's find this even place so we can have a win-win situation and move forward. And if you find the other party is correct, have the humility to admit that, and you're going to win the hearts of the person you have conflict with. Sharita, I know that I kind of overtalked that, but try to win the heart of the person you have conflict with. Don't try to win the conflict based on your ego.
That's good.
I'd like to say
win the Go ahead, Pastor Sean.
It's about whether you want to be right or be effective. And so many people always want to be right and they want to act like they know it all. And I have the answers instead of listening to the other person. And once again, being able to identify with what the individual is going through to help that situation to become a win-win situation.
That's good. That's good. So what do you find out of everything that we've read in this book? What do you say is the big key for you, Pastor Tammy, in literally winning friends, influencing people? What stood out? What did you relate to the most?
I think what I related to the most is just being genuine and selfless. So the key thing is if you want to win people over, that you have to be selfless. That is not about you. You have to be able to seek to understand, step in that person's shoes. You have to operate from a place of humility, not trying to be right or great. Not trying to exalt yourself above the other person as I know more and you don't. I'm higher or better, but just exercising humility, seeking to understand, putting yourself in that other person's shoes, and coming from a real place of being authentic. I think those are some of the key things that stood out for me, and just really being selfless, stepping outside of yourself.
That's good. Pastor Sean, I'm going to ask you the same question. What stuck out to you? What did you relate to the most?
Just being able to really identify with people. And in this week's reading praise, you said something that I actually put in my note. It's how God inhabits the praises of his people. So think about that. If God loved praises, then people will love praises. And so we really want to influence people. We've got to find something that you can praise people about. And also just being a good listener overall, listening to the details.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
That's good. Mr. Browning?
Oh,
Any
wow.
questions?
Well, a couple things first. First of all, you ladies are having a magnificent hair day. I mean, it is just unbelievably just, it's like three suns setting at the same time. I mean, I don't know how to describe it. Absolutely amazing. I'm the luckiest man in the world. And that praise quote, Dr. Atkins, I think maybe I might have said that. You may want to go check the record. And as far as this book, guys, this is a masterpiece. Being right isn't always right. Absolutely, absolutely, Sandra. How to win friends and influence people. And what I got from this masterpiece, this amazing, is well, here's one principle that sticks with me. When you want to get someone to be in alignment with you, if you're trying to sell a decision, trying to sell an idea, if you're trying to get someone or a team to buy into your vision or buy into an idea, that it's really, really good to find a way to enroll them into the vision by connecting them to it. I mean, I don't know really how to word it at this point. It's just have someone find ownership in the vision. Like as leaders, sometimes we tell people what to do. And at the end of the book, it also talks about nobody wants to be told what to do. People want to be like indoctrinated into a vision. People want to fall in alignment with you. Like the spirit of finding ways to be agreeable is what I love about this book, as opposed to being this domineering force of telling people what to do. Can you find a creative way to have a person say, not only do I want to do that, but almost as if they feel like it was their idea in the first place. And I just think that is just a masterful Picasso-like way of dealing with people and getting them from point A to point B.
Absolutely. I agree. So, for me personally, with this book, what I love is the fact that it shows you that people always want to know more about themselves and feel good about themselves. And if you're able to take yourself out of the way and really position it where people really can find themselves in the vision, as you said, Mr. Browning, and be happy with the decision that they're making, and you having the win-win situation, you're always going to be able to win new people. I think that you're always on the go to find new friends, find new business partners, especially in network marketing. You are relationship building at all times. And once you can become a natural at being a people person, or naturally make people feel good and create a vision where there's excitement and you're dramatizing your ideas, or whether that's praising someone and making them feel amazing about what they're about to do, they're always going to come back. They're always going to feel like you are for them. And as you said, Pastor Tammy, being genuine, that's really what people need and want. So putting all that together, these are tools that in life will always cause you to win, point blank, period. And so this book was great. It was great being able to see it in action, seeing how we can utilize all of it in our day-to-day activity, especially with one another, has been amazing. And so I know, Mr. Browning, we have a new book coming out. Why don't you share with everyone about our new book?
Sure. It'd be my pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been on a roll. I believe that the team of possibilities, national, local, regional, national, and international, galactical, and universal book club is a force to be reckoned with. And I would have to say, I think we're these books are just impactful. And so our next installment is none other than The Magic of Thinking Big. Okay. This is a masterpiece. And let me tell you why I'm so excited about this. Because we have leaders on this broadcast that are about to go executive director to Sharita Leon. We have leaders on this broadcast, Pastor Sean, going executive director to in the next 45 days. We have leaders on this broadcast going into the executive rank realm for the first time, Pastor Durden. And it's going to come because we're thinking Our organization is going to break diamonds and double diamonds, right? And it's happening right now. It's happening right now. You see, guys, we're in the making over the next 30 to 60 days, over the next 30 to 45 days, history, because we're thinking big and we're going hard. And so these books you talked about, you asked the question, the difference between reading this stuff and applying it, we're going to apply it. But I know a little bit about this book. I haven't read it, but it has come highly recommended from every giant that I've been mentored by. And I think you guys should get this by David J. Schwartz and stay in alignment with us, because we're going to a whole nother stratosphere. You can expect an atmospherical shift because we are now thinking big. And that's a birthright. It's abundance consciousness. We were born to multiply and to be fruitful. That's thinking big. No more scarcity. You know, we're trying to get to 6 figures a month. Okay, just to start.
We are.
Just to start. That's where we're going, just to start. Okay. And so I got a little excited. And
okay, excitement.
I will say I'm very excited about this. And I love this broadcast. Pass it back to you, but I'm so grateful to be on this podcast with you champions, to hear your discretion. You're just in a different position this evening, and I was just inspired, you know, so inspired. And this is an awesome thing that we're doing.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to this book as well. I've read it in times past, and I love thinking big, all of us at the Team of Possibilities. And so we're going to wrap up. But before we do that, I'm going to ask Pastor Tammy, we know that we haven't all read the book yet, but what do you think you're going to find in this book that's going to help take us to our goals within the next 30 to 60 days?
Well, I mean, simply put, as the title, I think it's just going to expand our vision and how big our vision is, and stepping outside of our comfort zones to do the things that are necessary by any means necessary, whatever it takes to go beyond our current boundaries and make it happen.
Make it happen.
Absolutely. Pastor Sean?
It's going to cause us to be unstoppable, unshakable, unbreakable. And I'm excited about it. Yes.
Don't hate, Sharita. Be inspired.
I'm very much inspired. I don't have to hate. I have mine. It's coming real soon. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Yes, indeed.
Don't do that. All right. So, ladies and gents, we thank you so much for watching another episode of the one and only Top National Book Club. We thank you for coming in tonight. Make sure you get our next book, The Magic of Thinking Big, because trust and believe, it's going to be big. I know the song. I almost started singing, but I'm not going to do it. It's gonna be big. All right, y'all. So we have to go. Watch yourself, Mr. Browning. Okay, utilize the book we just read. All right, so you all, thank you for watching. Make sure you share the broadcast, and we will see you all next Monday at the same time. Have an amazing evening. Bye, everyone.